People are the most important asset within any idea. I know right now we have AI. I'm not very sure whether it's going to replace people, but for now, people resource is the most important in any plan or in any strategy. Now, if you have people who are part of a business, part of a company, part of an idea, and they're not very sure of what they're going to do, then that's going to be a problem. Okay, so if people don't know what they're supposed to do, okay, is one. Number two, a lack of buy-in. Okay, buy-in means people will agree with whatever ideas that you have presented. All right, and this is what is called change communication. So when you're starting off an idea, there's no idea that can succeed as an idea. So you need people to buy into the idea that you have. So one of the things before implementation or even beginning from the planning stage, you need to bring in the people who are going to be involved so that they buy into their idea. So when it comes to the implementation and execution, it will be very easy because they know what they're supposed to do. They have already the buy-in, and therefore they'll be looking to make sure that the process, or rather the strategy, succeeds. Number three, when it comes to people, I think would be the reason why we can have an issue to do with lack of opportunities is because of an ethical problem. Okay, so these are people who know what they're supposed to do. They're very clear, they already got the buy-in, they already bought into their idea, but when it comes to applying ethics, and by here I mean a code of ethics of where we agree we are going to deliver, we're going to have respect, we are going to deliver reports that they're supposed to be delivered at the right time, we are going to be loyal to the organization that we work for, or we are going to participate in providing ideas to improve, then that can make an idea or a company grow. But if people do not exercise ethics, principles, all right, values or morals, then this is what is going to bring down a company that has potential to do very well. I'm not very sure why Nakumatt closed. I'm not very sure why some of these supermarkets are not doing well. But is it likely that it is a people issue? All right. So if maybe we were to fix the people, then this would be fixed, and then we can start solving that problem. The other one is lack of performance measuring. Edward Deming said, and this is he's known as the father of quality management. If you don't measure what you're doing, then you don't know what you're doing. All right. So the reason why you measure is for you to monitor the strategy that you put in place, the people that are involved in the strategy of building something, but there should be a way of measuring performance. So here we're talking about measuring performance. Are you meeting your objectives or not? Okay. The other one is measuring productivity. So you have people working in a company, but do you know what they're doing? Are they bringing in the output that you expect them to? Because if you don't measure what you're doing, what they're doing, then it's likely you're going to come up with gaps within the business processes. Okay? Because something is not working out here, something is not working out here because you're not measuring, then you'll end up having some gaps in your strategy. So it is important that anytime you identify a gap, you need to find solutions to that gap. Okay? Now, if you don't sort out the gaps, then That is why you have companies closing. That is why you have companies that are not doing well, because they do not identify the gaps. The other thing, when you're measuring, it's also important to look at what are the risks. Okay? Now, risk assessment is something that every business should have. It's called enterprise risk management, where you're looking at, okay, I'm running a business. What are the risks? And that is why most of us were caught off guard because of COVID. All right? But COVID was a bit of an exception. But despite of having exceptions, any business should study their strategy and learn how to look at what are the risks. Okay? So if I'm running a business and I identify that I normally get clients at a specific time of the month and not another month, then that month for me where I'm not making money, then it means that is already a risk in my business. So I should come up with a plan to see how to mitigate this risk. And that is called countermeasure. A countermeasure. Okay? It's a countermeasure. So in the event that this happens, then I know what to do. All right? But in case this happens and I don't know what to do, then it means that is where we end up having organizations not doing very well, companies not doing very well, because they never did their risk assessment. So lastly, in our 4 categories, let us now look at a lack of continuous improvement. Now, any business should not be comfortable sitting and not having what we call a maturity model or a plan to grow. All right? Think about the phones that we use. Every time we keep getting an upgrade, a better version of, that is part of continuous improvement. So you have to think about what is the need that your customers have and what can you do to consistently meet that need or improve that need, either by looking at what other competitors are doing or improving your niche. All right? So never become comfortable because you have a business that's making money. Always be looking for ways to improve your business. And with improved businesses, then we address the problem of companies that are not growing. So if companies are growing, then it means we create opportunities for other people. Okay? Evans, do you have a question in regards of what we have discussed today?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, Evans doesn't have a question. So for you guys, if you have any questions based on what we have presented, kindly give us your comments to see how we can constantly engage in terms of finding solutions to this specific problem. Okay. So we can now go back and see. So now that we have looked at what the problem is, how we ended up having this problem, then what can we do about it? But before we talk about what we can do about it, I would like to address a scenario of Japan. Okay, after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan needed to have a strategy that was going to get them back to economic stability. Okay, so some of the things they put, if I can remember all of them, number 1 was industrialization. Okay, number 2 was innovation. Number 3 was exporting. Export versus importing. All right. Number 4 was education. Number 5 was ethics. We have already discussed why this is a critical element, and that is why they had this aspect and this aspect at 2 separate strategy objectives. Number 6 was, I think, societal, I think, welfare. Okay, so after the bombing, they said, okay, we need to come up with a strategy. So what are the pillars that we need to focus on? And these were the 6 pillars. In terms of execution of the plan, remember we've already talked about implementation and execution. They didn't know how to go about it, so they engaged an American by the name of Edward Deming, who is also known as the father of quality management, or the father of total quality management, who was going to show them how they were going to execute this strategy. All right. Now, Edward stated that one of the things that he was very impressed by when he landed in Japan and he started engaging with the people in the different companies was the fact that all the people from top to bottom, everybody was clear on what they were going to do. So Deming was coming in with the how they were going to do it. So interestingly, 20 years after the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, Japan was the #1 automobile producer. 20 years after. They were doing much, much better than the United States. So that tells you that when you have a beautiful strategy, there are other components that are required for you to get the output that you want. All right? And it shows that if you are to follow everything, and even if you are to copy what they did, then it means we're not saying everybody has to take 20 years. All we are saying is there's guaranteed success. Okay? If not success, there's guaranteed growth, development. Development, there'll be opportunities. Okay? So for now, let us look at our how. What can we do, or what small ideas, or what can we start considering for us to see how we can slowly start addressing this problem?